Hello, hello, you guys. Welcome to episode 4 of The Big Messy Bun. So, this week I have had, I've been sick all week, and I thought I was feeling 100%, and I'm not quite there. But you know what? I'm going to share with you something that I love in my wellness world and in my day to day living, and it's consistency. And when we can find a way of being consistent in the things that we're trying to do, accomplish, become, then it happens. We start moving the needle in that direction. So this morning I thought about, I was wanting to record Sunday, and Sunday was not going to happen. Yesterday, oh, that was Sunday. I ended up teaching two back-to-back fitness classes and they went like off the charts. They were so good. And then this morning I woke up and I went and taught my fitness class at the retirement home. And it was during that class that I was like, yep, we're going to make this happen. So I was able to teach that class this morning. And now I'm here recording here. I'm recording on a Monday. You guys going to hear this on a Wednesday. I air these every Wednesday and they're put on Wednesdays for a reason. And they're to help you get through the week. I've had so many listeners write in and tell me about how this podcast is kind of giving them a little lift throughout the week. And it's exactly what my intentions are for this. I I really just want to give you guys something to think about, feel, laugh, all of the things. And so today I'm going to follow up on what we started last week. And last week we started to talk about being a person who uses a gratitude practice. Now, I have to share with you, I have been in a gratitude practice for decades, for a long, long time. And it's called a practice because it's just like when you go to hockey practice, you don't go to hockey practice once and be done. You don't go to hockey practice. It's not called hockey only once. It's called hockey practice because you go and you go over the years and you get better at your game. And so a gratitude practice is the same. And so I was pulling out different journals and looking at some of them, and I pulled out one from 2010 and 11, and I was just like going through it. If you're watching the video version of this, you'll see I bring out props. I love sharing like parts of my journey with you guys, and sometimes it's in the form of a book. And so I was going through actually the earlier part of this book, and a gratitude practice was something that I've done probably long before I had kids, and then when I had children, I really got into it. And so I even was teaching my children about having being grateful for what they have. Just this morning, I was on the phone with my oldest son, and we were talking about I was talking about my work, and I was telling him how grateful I am that I've had a career that I've fully enjoyed, like thoroughly just love. I've had this career for so long. And last night, when I was teaching class after having been sick, I wasn't able to teach my classes for a week. And last night I was able to teach and I lit up. It was so exciting. And I'm like, this brings me so much joy and so much life. I'm so grateful. And I tell my classes that very often, how grateful I am that I get to be their coach, that I get to be their trainer. And when I was chatting with Jack this morning, we were talking about careers and life and things like that. And I said to him, I said, Jack, there is no way I would have made it through single parenthood without a career that lit me up so well. I said, I'm so grateful that I had that career. And then he said to me, he goes, Mom, you're probably the happiest person I've ever met. And he was sincere. He wasn't being a smartass. And it was so beautiful to hear him say that. And he said, and most of the people that have met you, I know feel the same way. And that's partly why I feel very called to do this podcast. This is truly a drop of happiness into your world, and I'm telling you right now, my life is not perfect. And I am the first to tell you that. And I'm first to share that with you. And so having a gratitude practice, it helps you, it helps you focus on what you have, number one. So it gets you in the zone of your days. And on the days when I felt like I couldn't do another thing, I couldn't breathe, it was so much, I would still find something, just something to be grateful for. And sometimes it was as simple as things like air, water, I got a good pillow. Like it doesn't have to be extravagant things. And then on the days when you feel so alive, your list might go on and on. So I'm going to talk to you about my gratitude practice and how I started it. And I'm going to share bits of it with you today. I'm actually going to read from my own journals with you. First, I'm going to read to you a journal entry, and then I'm going to share with you the circumstances around it. So I've done this for companies. I have spoken to companies at length about a gratitude practice. So we're not going to have that much time. So we're going to condense this into a 15-minute episode. But I want to share with you that when you start to look at the things that you are grateful for, you will start to go about your day and look for the good versus heading out and figuring out what kind of shitstorm you're going to be in today. Like, some people that are just wired to look for the garbage. They're looking for anything that can go wrong will go wrong because they're actually looking for it. They're wanting to point it out. They're wanting to call out the negative. Well, I tend to look, and it's not like I run around with rose colored glasses, you guys. I am real. I freaking know what's going on in the world. But I know that when I can control myself first and my thoughts, it gives me a better chance of having a pretty good day. And then a good day turns into a week, and then a week is a month, and so on. And so, even though times have been challenging, taking time to reflect, and it can be in the form of a book. I know for me, I like a journal. It just kind of helps me. I just found a little note that fell out of my journal. Let's see. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you. Love, Casper. I don't know what year this was from, but it looks like maybe grade 3 or something. Anyways, it's just a little thing that fell out of my journal. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a couple of entries, and I'm going to share with you one. So I'm going to share this one entry, and it says, "Tonight, I'm so grateful that I have a great group of people at boot camp. I love sharing healthy tips with them. I love creating a space for people to feel alive and strong and powerful. I'm going to be okay." Now, I will read the date that this was written, and it was July 2nd, 2015. Now, for those of you who know me well, will know the significance of that date. My mom passed away on July 1st, 2015. And the following day, I had a class scheduled to teach. I teach a boot camp class, and we were scheduled to go. And I can recall that night clearly. I arrived at the gym. I set up my stuff. I set up my mat and my speaker and all of my things. I was teaching live. This was in real life. And I tried my best not to make eye contact with my crew because I was a little bit emotional. Obviously, I just lost my mom the day before. And I got through that class. And then at the end of class, I let it all out. I cried and I just let everything out. And they were such a beautiful group of humans to just wrap me in their arms. And it was a really beautiful thing. And I came home that night and I wrote about that. And that was hard to write when you're feeling just so like the lowest of lows, right? And then, you can carry on. Later on in that year, I am so grateful for my strong, healthy body. I'm grateful my kids are healthy. I'm grateful that I have clean clothes. Like there's little things. It doesn't have to be grand. And then sometimes you're going to have gratitude of like a trip that you took or a situation that you're in. But when you can start focusing on some of those smaller things, it starts to compound. And when you start this, you will go at your day and look for things. Like this morning, oh my Lord, even though it's minus 30, whatever here, I was so grateful for that sun shining today. It was so nice to see sun shining all day. Yes, it's minus 37, I think, today, but the sun is shining and it's a beautiful thing to see. I mean, it's really beautiful that I have a warm house and that I'm comfortable. I have warm, I wrote this in my journal this morning. It's out in the living room, but I wrote that I am so grateful for a warm mittens, warm jacket, and warm boots. Like, huge gratitude for that. And so when you start doing this, and for me, my gratitude practice is pen to paper, and there's something in your brain. Now, listen, this is not a science podcast, so don't come at me and be like, you don't know your freaking facts. If you want, Google it. I'm not wrong. There's something called your reticular activating system. It's in your brain. And when you put things down on paper, it's kind of like when you set goals and you write them out and you write, and that action of from the brain to the pen to the paper, that action does something special in your brain. So I encourage you to write it out. Write it out. And it feels like when I look at different journal entries, I also love seeing the different colors of pen. I like seeing just how my penmanship looks. Sometimes it was just neat and tidy. Other times it was just a like crazy mess. But when you write down the things regularly, it turns your brain to a place of looking for the good versus just focusing on the things that are not going well. And so if you're someone who tends to look for the negative, you're going to spot it. You're going to see it. Now, again, it doesn't mean everything's sunshine and roses, you guys. There's terrible things that happen. There are, and there's terrible things that might be happening to you right now, and it sucks. But if you can pull out a pen and paper, there's different times of day that I like to do it. This morning I did it before I took off for my day. Sometimes I do it at the end of the day and I recap the things that I saw or that I felt or experienced in my day. Sometimes that's a text from a friend, just something so like, whoa, I haven't heard from them in a while. Today I was shopping and I actually got a text from a friend. I had messaged her 3 weeks ago when the podcast came out, and I sent her this like, oh my God, I did it. She knew that I wanted to do a podcast, and I sent her a text, and I got a response today. Now, I wasn't mad that she didn't respond to me on the day I sent it. It was actually a treat today to get that response when she was able to respond to it. And so it's little things like that, little tiny things. And when you go at your day and you're going to start to see it, you'll feel the energy from other people when you do this practice. And so I encourage it. And I've done it for so long. This journal is from 2010 through to 15. So like I'm not writing pages and pages, you guys. These journals last a long time. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 things. Sometimes it's a whole paper. And I also have multiple journals. So sometimes I'll write in one and then I get a new calendar. And sometimes it's writing notes on a calendar. Some people do keep a gratitude practice in their phone. And I like paper. I like the sound of paper. I like the feel of paper. I love journals. But if it means putting notes in your phone, heck, that's a start. But there's something special when you get writing it down. So don't forget that piece might really be a clincher for you. So just something to consider. And again, also, if you have goals that you're really wanting to go for and experiences that you want to have, write them down. When they're written and they're kind of in view and you see it and you feel it, there is, again, a greater chance of it happening for you. So I encourage you. I call myself a gratituder because it's just cute. I think it's a good name to be a gratituder. And I'd just would rather live my life on that side of the fence than always looking for the negative side. And there's enough negative in the world. We don't need to create more of it. But if we can take some time to create some joy, create some laughter, create some fun, and that's honestly what I want to produce here for you guys. And we're on week 4, you guys, episode 4. That means for a whole month, we've been consistent here. And I forgot to look at, to write down comments and things like that that are coming up. So I will make sure I do that on the next episode. But I am getting a lot of tags on social media, and I appreciate it. I'm just really excited about it all. Now, I'm going to be I'll be transparent podcaster here. I'm still trying to figure things out. Like, even my own computer is like running out of like space in it. But these are all figure outable. So it's been quite a process. It's been fun. I thank each and every one of you for following along. I thank you for listening. I thank you for sharing this podcast. And if it's something that you think someone could feel better from listening to, please send it to them and share it. And I'm just grateful. I am so grateful that you guys are here and that you're enjoying this and that it's something that's happening. So thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to wrap up. I think we're very close to that 15-minute mark. I'm starting to feel 15 minutes. I always forget to look at the timer, but I'm feeling like that was about 15 minutes. And I wish you guys a fantastic week, and we'll see you next week on The Big Messy Bun.